Brian Hodge, CEO, BlackFolkHotspots.com, the host of SBB TV, and that's a hashtag. So hashtag SBB TV. We're with episode 20, and today's guest, we have Beverly Pitts. But before we bring Beverly in, we got a few little housekeeping things to do. If you are a Black business owner, I urge you to create a profile on Black Folk Hotspots so that we can introduce your business to our network of over 250,000 urban professionals. Also, you can go to BFHS Network and get your shirt, Support Black Business shirt. I'm telling you, it makes a statement without saying any words. Anytime I have these shirts on, I'm walking down the street, when I'm in Chicago or elsewhere throughout the country, you know, people come up to me and they ask me, first of all, I get thumbs up. And then they also, you know, say things like, that's cool. What kind of business do you have? Or, you know, what do you do? That's an awesome concept. Yes, we need to do more. So it starts conversations without me ever saying a word. Today, the shirts are on sale for $17. We also have the hoodies as well. So you can get one of those if you like. I think they're like 35 bucks. But anyway, I'm gonna bring Beverly, Miss Beverly Pitts into this into the mix, and you're gonna really enjoy some of the things that she's doing. She's in the beauty side of things with hair, and she has a couple shows coming up. Plus, we want to talk about her business. We want to find a little bit more of who she is, what she does, upcoming events, and then we can take it from there. Beverly, how you doing today? Uh-oh, gotta unmute her. Beverly, did you mute yourself? Beverly. Beverly, did you mute yourself? Bev, we had sound.
Me.
There we go.
All right, I didn't mute it, but I'm glad to be back.
I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, so Beverly, so could you hear me? So you can hear me though, right?
I could hear you clearly, and I'm new to Google Hangouts, so I didn't realize how I got muted, but I'm back, and I'm glad that you invited me today.
Awesome. So let's talk about, let's jump right in this. Let's talk about who you are, you know, what you do, what's your business. And then I know that you have some events that's coming up and that go along with your business. So I would like to talk about that. Let the people know what's going on in case they may want to partake and come out and check out your events.
Well, I'm in the beauty industry, and I've been I started out as a hairstylist some 28 years ago, and then my husband and I 20 years ago started the Carbell's Beauty Supplies, distributing beauty products, and our natural next progression was into what our current project is, the Pro Beauty Show, which is a beauty trade show that brings education to our southeastern area for professionals, hairstylists, and all in the beauty industry.
You know, that's a cool deal. And I'll tell you a real quick story is when I was in the Air Force, and we know we had talked about that earlier, and when I got out of the Air Force, I was working in Atlanta, and I worked at a hotel, Days Inn, which, by the way, was the most expensive Days Inn I think in the world. It was like $129, $39 a night, and this is Days Inn downtown. It was super nice, so it wasn't like, you know, the Days Inn that you might have heard of. Because I was like, they charging $129 for a Days Inn? Are you kidding me? But anyway, but it was really really nice, and we always had like celebrity guests um, that was there, which you know. But one of the things that struck me that I knew nothing about was the Bronner Brothers hair show.
Mm.
And you know, when they came in town, I seen some. You know, I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even. Matter of fact, I didn't know what the show was. I just knew that I seen some people with some of the craziest hairstyles I've ever seen in my life. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
and I was like, wait a minute. Did that girl got a zipper in the back of her head? I mean, did a bird just
Yeah.
fly out of there? You know, and I'm like, you know, that's a Rolls Royce just pulled up in front of Days Inn, and they looking, you know, looking for valet parking. We don't have that. They got to park in the back. You
Right.
know, and so it was really interesting because that guy that was driving a Rolls Royce turned out to be the founder CEO of Hawaiian Silky,
Yes.
and he was the coolest dude in the world. You know, and he had, you know, and then you know. George Clinton stayed at our place, and Tupac has stayed at our place. So I've met a ton of people. But as far as your hair show goes, you know, why should a person come to your show? Is it just because where are you in relation to Atlanta? Because you're in Georgia, right?
I'm in Georgia. Yeah, Bronner Brothers in Atlanta, and I'm 80 miles south of Atlanta, in Macon, Georgia. Actually in the center of the state, and Bronner's still a very viable show. I still attend as a hairstylist, and then 2 months later, the Pro Beauty Show. So it just offers another venue to get education, to meet manufacturers, to see new tools. We have these competitions, really big hair battles, and so after 2 months after Bronner, we're still a very viable show, and we actually offer a lot of the same things on a little bit smaller scale, and it just covers a different area of Georgia.
Right. So you said that you start out doing hair like you said over 20 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I started out as a hairstylist, actually going to those Bronner Brothers shows, seeing the things that you're talking about. It was very, very exciting to me, and so I love this industry. I love, because we make people happy, and our stylists just have fun doing what we do.
Okay. Now, with your show, or do you bring in? Is there like featured guests, or is it you
Yeah,
know? So
absolutely. We bring in featured guests. We're bringing Dwight, who one of the I think he's one of the stylists for the Housewives. We've had people that are celebrities on LA Hair in Atlanta. We actually, our first year we had Tabitha Coffee. She was known as a television personality that would go in and um, really call out the salons to help make them better, and then leave them better hopefully than when she got there. So the big thing with trade shows now is to bring in some celebrity and I prefer celebrities in the beauty industry, because they are the ones that we should be connecting with, the ones that have done notable things. And then aside from the celebrities, the real meat of the show really comes when you bring in quality educators, um, people that have done well in the industry and can actually share those tips and that knowledge with stylists who are new, and some that are just need to be revived.
and I'm thinking that is that the because I used now I've never been in the hair industry or in this industry, but I was in the medical industry, so I knew that certain conferences and this that, and the other to get to further education and learn more things. But since I've been running Black Folk Hotspots, I've talked to people like yourself. I've also talked to stylists and this that, and the other. So I know that they're trying to pick up new skills, whether it's what's new, what type of education, what type of courses or classes. I guess that's uh,
Right.
that your guests, what's
Yeah,
something that they will be able to.
we bring in education of all sorts. This year we have barbering education, we have makeup, hair cutting, hair coloring, weaves and extensions, and then business, because that too is a vital need in our industry that helps to keep us growing and keep us alive.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You know, my daughter's hair is purple.
Sounds like a candidate for the beauty industry.
It's purple right now.
She may, yeah, she fit well.
Yeah,
She may need to, you may need to have a look at beauty school. She's like to walk around like that.
yeah. She's 14. She said she wanted, and she was like, Poppy, um,
Yeah.
uh, I want. She had been hitting around to it for months, and she's like,
Hmm.
I think blue, I think this, and and so her mom, when she took her, and she was sending me, pictures as it was ongoing. I had no clue it took that long.
Mm.
You know, I think she might have been at 3, 4, 5 hours. I'm like, what's the hold up? You know what I mean? Go in there, put the stuff
Yeah.
on your head, get out. But I get it. It's a method. It's a madness to, and from what I understand now, just through that, everybody's not skilled in that skill set. So, um, to do it right, I guess. I don't know. I'm finding this out as well.
Well, yeah, there's always varying degrees of skills, and that in itself, really puts forth the need for trade shows, because that those are the places you go and enhance, what you've got, grow to the next level. And when you've got a show that brings quality education, then you should really, stylists sometimes a little lazy about that, but really should try and make it to these shows.
Yeah, I can see why. And it was something you said earlier, just a few minutes ago, about the business side of things. Now that is where I've dealt with more stylists and barbers in that space. I used to do I used to sell credit card machines,
Hmm.
and I thought it was an awesome, a little niche. And so I always try to find a niche in any big industry that I'm in, because that way I can group people together, so I can learn the pain points. I can learn the different things that they're going through, instead of going from a beauty shop to a car dealership to a this to a that to a food place, and that way. So I chose barbers and beauticians, and
Hmm.
I will tell you, I'm hoping, and this was probably like '07, '08, '07, I think it was, and I'm hoping that I was praying. I remember talking to my friends, like, they need to learn some business skills. And and it was funny because somebody was saying in beauty school, they're not they didn't teach that. I guess now they're starting to teach it, but they didn't teach the business aspect.
Right.
So these people were learning trial and error. So they didn't understand why they need to take credit card machines, why they had to have credit card machines. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and here I am trying to educate. Like, okay, let's just say that your hair your hairdo is going to cost the person $40, right?
Right. Right.
And they are used to using their debit card, right? And so when they go to whip out their credit card, they're a first time person. They don't know that you don't have a credit card machine, and they go whip it out. He's like, oh, you got to go to the ATM machine. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it, you know now, and I would tell
It's
them
bad business.
it is bad business, and but you'll be amazed at the feedback that I would get. It wouldn't be a light bulb click on for them. It would be a, well, they can just go to the ATM machine. And I would always say to them, here's the deal.
Hmm.
So I would have, if I came here, and I had to pay you, I would have to go to the ATM machine, pay $2 or $3 extra to get my money out, right? And I would come pay you, but there's a good chance that you're probably not going to get a tip, because I'm gonna probably pull just enough money out to pay you, and
Hmm.
I'm never coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are things that they didn't get. Now, even on the flip side, now, I was like, going to say you sell products, say you sell shampoo or conditioner or different things that you use in a person's head, they can't even purchase that. A
Right.
person may have $1,000 in the bank, but $50 in their pocket.
That's right. That's right.
So you're losing money as a business owner,
Yeah.
and I don't know about you, but that doesn't make me happy. to lose money,
Right.
you know, and
And it doesn't make sense. It
it
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense. I've seen it over the years, and I actually still have a salon, and we have 12 stylists, and the ones that get it get their business in order. The ones that are still, that customer that you talked to that didn't understand the importance, then they miss out on money growth and opportunities and the ability to grow their business. So, we've got to, our industry and black business, honestly, as a whole, really needs a makeover. And getting into in a place where you can educate yourself and learn how to grow and mature in your business is really going to be key to our survival.
It is, and I believe that, and it wasn't just one. Trust me, if it
Yeah.
was just one, it was a bunch to where I was frustrated every day going home. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Where are the ones
Yes.
that understand this? And then
Yes.
I caught a couple, and it was a couple bigger shops, and
Right.
and so I was a little bit happier, and I would always use this one little thing, and I would try to jar their that light bulb out of them, and I would say,
Yeah.
when you go to Walmart or Target or the grocery store or wherever, when you go, to McDonald's to eat, do you use cash or do you use a card? And they will say, I
Right.
use a card.
Right.
And I would say, well, don't you think your customers want to use a card too?
Yes.
And then they will
Yes.
go, and I've been kicked out with that same statement, like, you know what, get the heck out of here. And I'm like, well, all right,
Yeah.
you know what? I hope you get it. And I don't want to come here, in a year from now, 2 years from now, and there's a new business in here.
Close sign on the door.
Absolutely. Because,
Yeah.
because that's what happens. Your customers, they're eventually going to be like, this is crazy. You got to step up you got to come into the 2000s. You know what I mean? Get out of the
Yes.
1940s. Um,
Absolutely.
okay. So let me ask you. So because you were a stylist, and and I heard you say that it was a natural progression, right? And
Mhm.
this question is specifically for new stylists. Um,
Mhm.
and because I often had these conversations about, especially with the, in the media around, they're talking about this minimum wage thing, right? $15, this, that, and the other,
Mhm.
having a minimum wage. And I always say, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, working at McDonald's, $15 an hour is $30,000 a year. Now I understand people need money to live, but I never
Mhm.
viewed McDonald's as a lifetime job. I never viewed, working the front desk at McDonald's as a career, you
I
know,
totally agree with that.
and
Totally
so,
agree with that.
you know, and even even take that a step further. No company that I've ever worked for, that if I started an entry, no matter where I started, did I not look for to move up in the company, right? If there was no
Right.
opportunity for growth, I didn't need to be there any longer. If only the only reason I stayed, if my only purpose was just to make a few dollars to buy something. That was it.
Right.
I need to get a new car. I need to be here for 6 months so I can get a loan, whatever, right? It was always an agenda with that. So, you have stylists that, you know, that I wondered, is that something they should be thinking about from day one? Because I know me, I would be thinking about, okay, I want to get my own shop one day. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: I've never done hair. I cut my own hair, because I can shave it bald, right?
Mhm.
And every now and then I still go to the barber shop because I miss that part. You
Mhm.
know, I miss going to the barbershop, having that conversation with the fellas, and just, just the camaraderie, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
every now and then I'll go and let my barber like shave me up, shave me up, shape up my beard, and mustache. Especially if it's a special event coming on, then I'll definitely go. That way I'm looking, he got it all perfect, right?
Right.
Is that something that you believe that the new the new stylists should be thinking about? They should be thinking about opening their own shops, or do you think that it will cause like a bottleneck, or it'll be too many?
Right. Well, I think what has happened in the few years past is that a lot of people open shops, and what we find in the market now is a lot of shops with one person, two people, three people, and then it just creates a lot of people do paying a lot of bills. uh
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think that you have to have aspirations, and a lot of the girls that are with me for a time, I constantly tell them, when your chair that you're using in my salon, when it becomes more powerful than the salon, then you know it's time to move. Some people just move before it's time. So when
Ah.
your
Mhm.
yeah, your clients are overcrowded and it's overrun, now it's time. So you've got something to take with you and to share with other people, because the salon owner needs to be able to help other people grow.
I'm glad you said that because that was even a better question that I should ask. As a salon owner, should should the salon owners more or less be, you know, working with their girls or their guys and towards getting their own? And that makes a lot of sense. And because I look at it as, you know, I would help a person grow their business. I would help them get out,
Yeah,
and or even if I had to, become a part owner in their new shop. It just,
yeah,
that's what,
yeah.
when
That's
we look
growth.
at the people that are opposite skin colors of us, this is what they do.
Yeah.
You know,
Collaborate. They
they do.
collaborate. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to work in a car business, and if you wanted to open a car dealership, they have these things they call 20 groups. So it's a group of 20 car dealers in your area. So if you look in your area, it can be the Ford, the Chevy, the Dodge, the Toyota, whatever. They're all in this little auto group together, right? And it's 20 of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if, say, one of them decided to retire and get out of the business, and say someone from his family didn't want to take over, or say I moved in and I wanted to go into the car business, well, I would have to go to this group, because there's some competition rules that they put around, and I would have to go to this
Mhm.
group and basically apply and learn some of the rules of the games or this, that, and the other, because I'm the new guy on the scene, right?
Yeah.
And I would have to build relationships with these guys and sometimes give them ownership, a percent ownership of my dealership.
Right.
And I thought that was
Mhm.
very interesting. I said, wow. So I see how those things work. And it looks kind of, it sounds kind of bad on the, when you the person on the bottom, but if you're the person on the top, you got a percentage of, five other dealerships. You're like, wait, even if it's just a very small. And the same thing I think in the beauty space, because um that's something that I've always thought. And let me ask you this, because I know there's other people that have thought about this too, and maybe we can answer this question for them. Are there people who have never done hair
That are
that are shop
own
owners?
salons.
Mm-hmm.
They are. You have those, and I find that that's sometimes a very difficult arrangement, because the person that hasn't had the salon experience really miss a lot of what's needed. They overdo in one area and underdo in others. Um, but you really made a valid point about collaboration. The advantage of collaborating, like even in that car situation,
Mm-hmm.
you may be on the bottom, but you have the support of people who have gone through and done what you're trying to do. So they're bringing you along on the back of their experience. So collaboration is just, to me, is just the way to go, and nobody loses, because eventually I'm going to sit down after,
Mm-hmm.
and you're next in line, but you're able to gain on everything that I have, as opposed to trying to create yourself as a competitor, and we both lose.
Exactly. It's I was reading a story on I was reading a story. I don't know. I have, like, I don't know if you do this or not, but I do. Um, I use Google Alerts, and for certain topics, right? So I have like black business owners or black business, and anytime an article is mentioned on the internet or is a newspaper, or it'll send me once a day or once a week, however I got the settings right, and it'll send me, those articles. And because I try to read up, because I can't know everything, and I just want to stay up on it. Well, there was this beauty shop. There was this shop in Portland, Oregon, and it was a husband and wife that ran it. The husband had he worked for just a regular company in like one of the yards. He was like a yardsman, for I can't remember exactly what it was, but it got to the point where they had closed down. And so, to provide for his family, he started, cutting hair, right? And then they opened up this shop on this main road. And then his wife, she was, because, back then, a lot of times the wives didn't work, just the husbands worked, and she went and got her beauty license, and she started doing hair in there as well. And, it went, they did this for like 25, 30 years, put the kids through school, the whole nine. And now they're entering retirement age, right? And the kids don't, the kids didn't got their degrees and they're working in corporate America and this, that, and the other. Yeah. And then and I think they had like 5 or 6 kids, and only one of them wanted it, was willing to take it over. And which they did, but then they got older. And at the same time, this area started going through a changeover, to where now they're starting to bring in, more national chains of businesses and this, that, and the other. And now you have this mom and pop store that's been around for 40, 50 years, and they're trying to kick them out. The lady said that at least once a week somebody walks into the business to offer to buy her place. And, she looks at it, this is my mom, my mom's place and this, that, and the other. And what really got me is, and I was like, man, if I had the money, I would go buy that place just to keep it, just to keep it, right. And honestly, and to piss the people, the officials, the local officials off too, because, they want to change. And this place it's not an eyesore. It's just the fact that they want it out and they want to turn it into something, some lounge or bar or something, right? And what's going on is, as the area starts to change, they want to, change over these places. And now the traffic is so congested so as they built around it, so now their clients that's coming in to get their hair cut, or coming to get, ladies coming to get their hair done, don't even have a place to park. And so they have to park 2, 3, 4 blocks away to do this. And so the lady said to combat that, they just started a shuttle service. And they go pick up the clients. And I was like, wow, how cool is that, right?
How cool is that? Yeah.
That's one of them. I'm gonna sock it to you. I know what you're trying to do, but this is what we're going to do, right? Yeah. And she's getting older now, and she's like, wondering what's next. And I know that has to be a serious feeling. Like, what do we do? Yeah. Do we keep these? Do we sell it? Because I'm gonna tell you, that's something that I've always thought. In my area, in Gary, Indiana, or in the area, I want to open up an upscale place. I want to open up. I thought about that. I always thought, if I can have some, open up a place big enough for barbers and beauticians, but have them separated, but then have, the nail techs and the manicurists and all these type of things, and playroom for the kids. This is like a dream of mine. And so that's something I've thought about, and we'll talk about that later. Maybe you can give me some pointers, or if I should do it. But I know on the business side, I would go out and get a person, a manager or something like that, who's been in that hair business that can run the hair side, because I'd be like, dude, I have no clue what color that is. I'm already colorblind, so I don't know what you're talking about. But do you find that that is going too commercial? Since you've been in the industry for so long, I know you've seen so many changes.
Well, I have, and what has happened is what you described in the Portland area. Many of the businesses that were existing, that were strong, that kept financial strength in certain communities, they've been squashed out or bought out, even in terms of manufacturing, in terms of anything to do with our industry in terms of hair care. We've lost ownership of that, and that when you lose ownership, then you're at the mercy and the hands of other people, and they're there to just get the dollars. So what needs to happen is what you're saying is we need to re-energize and reestablish businesses that we run and that we control, so that our dollar can pass through our hands, multiple times before it goes, out, and that's the only way to build wealth.
Right, and because that was the biggest issue. This area was predominantly black at a certain point.
Yeah.
So 40 years ago, they were like, yeah, that's where you need to be. Right now, they're saying, no, you got to get out of here. We're changing this area over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's been repeated all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so that situation has been duplicated hundreds of times. And when that happens, you get a group of people that become consumers only. Well,
Mm-hmm.
If you're a consumer only, that means you also have limited dollars. And it just really puts you at the mercy of too many people when you lose control like that.
Yeah, and that's what that's the problem I have, because like I said, I grew up in Gary, Indiana. If you know anything about it, Gary, Indiana was the technically, or not so technically, whichever way you want to look at it, was the first major city with a black mayor. And
Wow.
back in '68 is when we got our mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on which history book you read, it'll either
Yeah.
be Gary, Indiana, or it'll be Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I've come with the thought process I've come to, and I haven't asked anybody to confirm it, but nobody's ever told me I was wrong either. I think it had a lot to do with the inauguration, whoever got inaugurated first.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that's what it is. So it's like we say we were the first, Cleveland say they were the
Yeah.
first, and the history books fight it over, right?
Yeah. Right. But they were two hubs that
Yeah.
generated a lot of wealth, and I guess a lot of it was talent, music talent, and whatnot. But people were able to generate wealth, and that strengthened them to be able to vote and elect a mayor, black mayor.
Well, yeah, because what we had in Cleveland was the same way. And you look at some of these other areas, we had our industry was steel mills.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, you had a bunch of people moving up from the South in the 40s. Like my grandmother moved from in the 30s from, I want to say, Alabama or Mississippi. I'm not really 100% sure, but I know it was one of those states. And to take a job in the steel mill, and she worked there for 40 years before she retired. And so they even built houses for, quote unquote, these steel mill workers. They built houses like our house I grew up in. My grandmother shared it with her sister, and it was a 5-bedroom house, but it was separated into, so it could actually be 2 families. So my grandmother's sister, my aunt, my great aunt, she stayed in the back. And my grandmother stayed in the front. Both of them had 2 bedrooms, a living room, and a kitchen and a bathroom. And they had a mutual interest. So when she got older and passed away, we ended up taking over the house, converted it to one big house. But this is what this house was created for. And I've watched our city go from, when I grew up, all I saw was black businesses.
Right.
Black gas stations, on black grocery stores, black shops up and down our main, corridor, or thoroughfare, whatever you want to call it. It was nothing but shops, nothing
Right.
but, and they were all black owned. Now they're I don't know what the ethnicity of these people, but we will call them Arabs or Indians or or whatever. Now they own all the gas stations.
Right.
They
Right.
own all the beauty supply shops. They hell, they even own a lot of the beauty shops. And I mean, and it to me is something that it kind of frustrates me because I tell people that I don't know how you grew up, but K through 12, I did not have one white person in a class with me.
Right.
The first time I was sitting in a real class was when I was in the Air Force in basic training.
Oh wow. Wow.
So there was white people there that was also saying, they were looking at me like I've never seen a black person before. And I'm like, yeah, I've never seen a white person before either. You know what I mean? and I would joke with them about that as the time went on, because I tell these people, look, there's cities that, hey, we didn't have none of y'all either. I had a black mayor. I was born in 72, so I had a black mayor. We've had one white mayor since 1972, and he quit. He quit in the middle of his term. And people was like, they never had that happen. Like, now he didn't go to jail. He didn't get indicted. He quit.
Oh, that's funny.
He said, this does not pay me enough to do this. I'm going back to practicing law because I need to be able to send my kids to college.
I never heard that. That's so funny.
It is. It is. People. It's ironic. It's just so funny. But even in our city, we got our us in our age, in our mid 40s and early 40s and 50s, and we're like, because we grew up in a different era, so we had fun as kids. We were able to go outside and and ride across town on our bikes, and our parents didn't worry about us too much, right? And we did those things. Nowadays, you can't let your kids half the time go play out in front of the house without wondering if something's going to happen to them. Especially with us being so close to Chicago. And Gary's not, don't get me wrong, we have been murder capital of the world a couple of times too. In the 90s, the state troopers had to come, and the National Guard had to come take over the city. And I was in the Air Force at the time. And I remember some of my buddies, because it was like on CNN or we would pick up WGN down there in Warner Robins Bayou. And my buddies were like, man, what the hell is going on in your city? They got to bring the army in to protect the residents. What's going on? So, I'm like, man, they wilding out. But during that time, the city's going down and down and down and down and down to where, I literally, and let me tell you, in the 60s and in the 50s, obviously I wasn't born, but doing my research, a lot of famous celebrities, the Sammy Davises of the world, Muhammad Ali's, anybody that was on that circuit that I know that my parents and my grandparents, they watched, right? They were the celebrities of the world then, right? They all came to Gary to party, to hang out.
Yeah.
If they performed in Chicago, they came, the after parties and everything was in Gary.
Wow. Yeah.
Because that's where the black people were. And the high school that I went to, you heard, the song Michael Jackson made, 2300 Jackson Street. Well, that's an actual street, number one. That is his actual address that he grew up in. And it's one block behind my high school. Wow. Yeah. So, so a lot of these things are really real. And now it's like, now you go and you drive down our main street, which is Broadway. It's like the divider between the east and the west side. And the other day I had this, maybe a couple months ago, I said, let me go. I'm gonna go count all the abandoned old businesses, and I counted 90 from the beginning of our city to the end of our city. I counted 90 on just one side of the street. And that was kind of disheartening because, every city around us is growing. except for the city with the 80-90% black population.
Right.
You know, and I say all that to say, you know, because I know you are a business owner, and you know, and you're in an industry that can, you know, it can go either way. Do you do beauty supplies as well?
Yes, we do. We have beauty supply. We're a rare entity, but we are a black beauty supply store as well.
Because I couldn't see, you know, and that's another thing I would even talk to these stylists, like, you should be selling supplies. You should be selling beauty
Yes.
supplies. You
Yes.
know, why are you letting these people go to the Koreans or the Asians? I mean, and because a lot of them don't live in our neighborhoods.
Right.
They don't live, so they're not putting back into the communities. They're taking this money and they're doing else, and that's the biggest problem. So, okay, I get it. Now, what would you what would you tell a person, a young person that says, you know, I want to do hair?
hmm I would, that's a great industry. I mean, it's one of the few industries that I think we still control. Most people don't want to do our hair, so it's an advantage for us, and we know our hair. We know how to do our hair, so it's an advantage in that way. So it's a great industry, but it's a wide industry. Just like for me, I started behind the chair, but then moved to the beauty supply distribution. There's still manufacturing opportunities. In fact, I'm partnering with a huge number of people in black people that are beginning to grow and create their own beauty product line. And once these take off, we can see a new wave of growth uh, in this industry. And I think we're just at a turning point where that has to happen because um, beauty is it's a way to really, as I think I've said it before, it's a way to build wealth. So any phase of the beauty industry is a good place to be right now. And I think we can take this industry and um, help people to grow and to feel a sense of worth by having their own.
Now there's this big argument, debates going on, you know, the natural hair versus the not natural hair.
Right. There is.
I
Um,
mean,
I
how do you feel about that?
I just did a seminar with some friends of mine just recently, and what I feel is that it's a wonderful thing that we have so many options. I think that for some people, wearing their hair as it grows naturally out of their head works very well for them. For others, it does not. And I think that where we're headed is three groups of people are emerging from this natural arena. Some people have decided, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I don't like this. So they're going back to relaxers. There's another group that really like their curls, they like that natural, they like the Afrocentric look, and some of them look very good and it works very well. And then there's another group that are just have created a new entity in our market that are just straightening their natural hair because they want the straight look, but they don't want the chemicals. So having options, I think, is wonderful. It's good for the industry because the stylists now can address more services. Just because people go natural doesn't mean that they don't want to go to the salon. And it has also opened up the market for a whole new group of companies that produce products for natural hair. We have several emerging companies that will be at our show that are bringing to the market organic products that are really good for natural hair. So it's like I can't I really love the illustration you made in Portland. When things change, you find a new way to make money, to make your business work.
You have to, and I always believe that you have to reinvent it. You have to stay on top, and
Yes.
I believe that that's what my city did not do. And I believe that that's why my city's population that I grew up in is going down. That's why I believe the crime rate is
Gone
going
up.
up, because you know, I have these arguments all the time, and I say that there's a direct correlation direct correlation between lower income and higher crime.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't matter if it's black or white, because you can have affluent black people living in a community together, and their crime rate is lower.
Yeah.
So it's a dollar amount,
It
and
is.
that's why I'm so passionate about helping black business owners grow. Because if I can help you get one more employee, or this business owner get one more employee, and they hire someone who looks like them, and because and I honestly, from talking to people on the street sometimes, I don't even think it matters to them if they can go out and get a minimum wage job. I just think it gives them that satisfaction as I'm a person, I'm a human. You know what I mean? I can actually go buy a pack of diapers for my child.
Right, right. A sense of worth. And what I think what you're doing is great, and I think that's why I took interest in. I don't really recall how I found it, but I think I took interest in the fact that we do need people that like yourself and like myself that understand what needs to happen, have to do something about it. So finding people of like mind, helping to, first of all, I think educate people as to what steps needs to be taken. Just letting them know that there are options other than just sitting around waiting for somebody to bring you something. Starting a small business. It doesn't have to be a big business. It doesn't have to be a salon. Sometimes you start with small businesses, and those stair steps lead to bigger businesses. So helping educate people as to how to get out of that rut, I think it's really on our backs to help pull that together and finding people. And my husband and I actually network with people of like mind that see what has to happen. And what we're doing is planning to just bring together people who know what needs to happen, and then just kind of setting out a path to those that are looking, and those that aren't looking, they'll pay attention later.
I say it all the time. I said, people, when I talk to business owners, and I talk to business owners on a daily basis, right? And the overwhelming majority are like, their biggest thing is like, I have a question on the site that says that it's not viewable to the public, but it's just viewable to me. And I ask, what are you struggling, most with in your business? And most times it's exposure. It's, it's growing a business. And it's to me, that is, like a couple years ago, I had this guy and he was like, you don't know what I need. I said, I can guarantee you one thing you need, and I can help you with that. And that's exposure. Right. I can help more people know. I guarantee you I can let one more person know about your business than you can. Right. Because it just is what it is. And he argued with me. And I said, dude, I have a network too. I have people in my network. And even if like me and my sister grew up together, we graduated together. We went through all the grades together, right? We still have two sets of friends. We grew up in the same household, went to the same schools, did most of the same thing, went to the same parties, the same games, the same there's people I know that went to high school with, and she'd be like, they went to school with us. And then there's people, the same thing. I'd be like, they graduated with us. And she, and so this is what I do now. The one thing, babe, I'm not gonna keep you much longer, but I do have two things I want to say to you. Number one, thank you for this conversation, this chat, because I think it's going to help someone else that possibly is looking into going in that space, or somebody that's already in that space. The second thing is, a few years ago, when Black Folk Hotspots when I was working on trying to get more exposure for beauticians, because I was stuck on this beautician thing after I had this credit card, situations with these people. I said, what, they really need help. And I'm that type of person that I think that sometimes I feel as though I care more about them than, about their business, about them growing than they really do. I could be wrong. That could just be my belief, but I really do. And like, it'll be 10:30 at night, and I'll, start thinking about a conversation that I had with a business owner 2 weeks ago and be like, and shoot them an email like, hey, you know what? I think you should try this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
But I was, I had this thing I was trying to, it's using the search engines and using Google. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I went on Facebook and I asked my friends and I said, I needed a guinea pig. And so I said, I need a beautician. Mm-hmm. I need a beautician that is in Gary. And I need, so either if you're a beautician or tell your beautician to hit me up. I want to work on a project with them. I want to help them get more clients. So anyway, this one beautician, she hit me up. I've been knowing her. She graduated actually a year before me. So I've been knowing her for almost 30 years. And I said, listen, she had been doing hair for like 10 years. And I said, I'm working on this project and I want to create a whole blog post around your business. I want to just talk about you. This is almost how this part of Black Folk Hotspot started, just for you, so you understand. And it came off this experiment. And I said, what I need is, I need to know what you specialize in, because I know every beautician is a little bit different. You might specialize in this. So I need to know your specialties. I need your website or your email, your contact information, basically, so that, people can get a hold of you. And I need some pictures of some of the heads you've done. And so she sent me everything I needed except for the pictures. She didn't have a website. So I rocked with what I had, which I'm glad I did, because it taught me something even more. And so I put together this post, and and then, and I started working on my SEO, and getting traffic to it and getting it ranked into Google. Well, within about 3 or 4 days, Google had ranked it. So we were starting to get hits for people, saying, looking for black hairstyles in Gary, or black hair in Gary, or, black salons in Gary, right? Which was what I was trying to do, which was what I was trying to get at. And they would come. The one thing, I couldn't tell where they were going. I couldn't tell what they were doing once they were there, but I was getting a lot of traffic for that. And what that told me was that people actually were going to Google to look for stylists or looking for hair salons, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And so, and I ran into her about 3 months I ran into her at the mall about 3 months later. And I won't say her name, but I was like, hey, I said, you remember we did the thing? And she was like, yeah. She was like, I'm like, how's it going? And she was like, I'm like, are you getting any phone calls or anything? Because you didn't give me a website, so I can't see, people actually, clicking out to go to your website. And she was like, yeah, I get, I get calls all the time. I get, probably 9-10 calls a week. Mm. And she said, but they don't want to come in and get their hair done. They just want to ask questions.
Okay.
And I paused for a minute, and I said, let me ask you a question. How long you been doing hair? She's like 15 years. I said, okay, I've never done hair, and I've never had my hair done, right? I said, but my sister has, and my mom has. And my mom went to the same beautician forever. And she usually had 2 beauticians. It depended on what style she was trying to rock, right? And then my sister went to the same beautician from the time she was a little girl up until the time she like graduated high school, and then that beautician, she retired, right? Matter of fact, when she had her hair cut for the first time, the beautician cried. Because she didn't want to. Yeah. She didn't want to cut her hair. She had been doing her hair since she was like 3-4 years old, right?
Oh, and, I understand. You build long-term relationships in this business for sure.
Which is the point. And so I said to her, I said, so why do you think those people are calling you to get information about about hair or asking about hair? Because most women, a lot of them probably have stylists. So would you think that maybe they were calling you because they were checking you, trying to see what type of knowledge you had, if you understood their hair pattern or their hairstyle before they came in to get their hair done? because why wouldn't they call their own beautician? So if they're calling you, it's a good chance that either they don't have you beautician or they're coming in town and they trying to, women are particular about their hair, so maybe they're trying to check you out before they even get there.
Right.
And she said, you know, Ryan, I never thought about that. I said, I'm gonna tell you something. I said, what's your average, your average head? And she said $40. I said, do you know that if that each one of those people, I said, most people don't just go to a beautician once or twice and then it's done. They usually build that relationship, like you just said, right?
Right.
So you'll see these people over and over again. So I said, just say that you gave them a percentage off if they showed up within 48 hours of that phone conversation. You gave them $20 or said, hey, I'll wash it for free or whatever. Something you gave them to entice them to come through your doors. I was like, because $40, if they get their hair done every 2 weeks, that's $80 a month. That's $960 a year. And if you had to give up $20 or even $40, that's almost $1,000 still per person that came in, new person that came to you. So if you're getting 9 or 10 phone calls a week and say half those people did that you're telling me that you just took out about between $500 and $7,500, maybe $10,000 of new money you could have been adding to your pocket.
Right.
And she said, I never thought about it like that. I said, listen, I didn't know I had to book your appointments too. And I can, and I can do it. She said, I said, just give them, I said, just throw it out there because check it. If they're just kicking tires, they're not going to come in anyway. But if you're good, you've been doing this for a long time and I've heard good things about you. So I know you're aces when it comes to this. Those people are going to come back to you. The majority of them. That's what you see when you have coupons in the newspaper for the local stores in the area. They're saying, hey, come check us out.
Yeah.
Come spend your money. Here's $5 off. Here's $1 off. You hear cars. We're giving you a $500 rebate if you buy a Ford, Fusion, whatever. That's to get you in that door because they're going to make more money on you in the long term.
Yeah.
They're going to give up a little bit of booty, what I call it, in the front, but they're going to get a whole lot of it in the end.
Right.
And so, anyway, here's the thing. And that was just a story. So I knew that I wasn't going crazy when I said that. But here's the thing. I need you. I'm looking at your profile, and I need you to fix your links.
Okay.
And I want you to get this event up so we can get this event posted so that we can get this event out to our network. We have a huge network in Atlanta. It's slowly growing in the making area. It's only probably like 5 or 6 people in that area. I usually only know like the major cities, unless I've lived in that area. Like in my area, I can tell you all the little suburbs around, right? But we get a lot of traffic. We get a lot of people looking for things, and and they land on us because number one, Black is in our name. So they see Black folk hotspots. So most people are going to assume that it's a site geared towards Black people, right? Case in point, all the white people that say they should start white folk hotspots, and that I get told that on like a daily basis, and I tell them, you're not going to be my competition, okay?
Right. Okay. Right.
And they be like, you're so racist, and I'm like, no, I'm not. But if that's what you want to say, then I guess I am. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But and that way we can get into the cycle because it looks like now when is the event is it looks like is it September? October
11th and 12th in Macon, Georgia, at the Macon Coliseum Centraplex, and all the information is on our website, probeautyshow.com.
Yeah, probeautyshow.com is the website.
That's right.
So you can find more information on that. Plus, this contact information from Miss Beverly Pitts. Because I seen a note that you beauticians, y'all, when y'all do things, y'all be like, y'all be Miss or y'all be Mister. It doesn't matter how old you are. They're like Miss or Mister. I'm like,
yes.
And I get it, because if you touching
Yeah.
my hair, I'm gonna give you all the respect.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But anyway, yeah. So you can get that up. I'm gonna get that up,
I
and
will.
then
I will fix those links. I know.
yes,
I
because
promise.
a person can't click through that. And I look at things like this. People have they have attention spans of 2-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so yeah, and then also too, and I think this will benefit maybe some of your stylists. I don't know how much clientele they have, or how much or how little, but one of the things I found is putting the pictures with
Uh-huh.
the hairdos and the photos up of things. People look at it for either one or two purposes. Sometimes it's like, hey, and I do know people who travel to go get their hair done. I got a cousin
Uh-huh.
who, she will fly to New York to get her hair done,
Wow. Yeah.
and she
I've
and she
heard of
lives in
that.
Atlanta, and
Wow.
or she'll go to L.A. She does that, you
Wow.
know. And something tells me that she's not the only one that does that, that have that do that. Um, but people, I know my sister's a real big person. She likes she looks at hairstyles for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks on the internet.
Yeah.
Uh, that's all she do. Like, hey, what do you think
Oh
about this?
yeah. Yeah.
But it also gives them, a person who lives in that area, because people, what happens is people do Google that. They do look for those hairstyles and look for people in the area that can do it, and it can. If it brings in one customer, that's an extra $1,000 or whatever the person charges. If it gets a person one client, but that works. And
Yeah.
some of the people, the barbers and some of the beauticians that we have on the site who have done that, they've seen results. So, but yeah, do you have any questions for me?
Uh no, no questions, but one final comment I really wanted to get in. There's this beauty industry is a multi-billion dollar industry, and most of 80% of that is spent by black people, and that
Mm-hmm.
if we could understand that just a small percentage of that could be turned to black businesses, um, we wouldn't be struggling, and then we'd be able to hire more people. The whole purpose of what you're trying to do would would be a lot easier, because we need to understand. And I think there's been a trend, against. I mean, you spend your money everywhere else, but if we can start to slowly educate ourselves the importance of spending money with small black businesses, um, we could see a huge turnaround. So that's kind of the message I'd really like, to be out there, and hopefully we all can work toward getting that bit of education in the minds of people.
And you're not just saying it because you're a black business owner, right?
I'm saying that because I know
No,
that
no.
it's important.
I was being funny. I
I,
was being
I
funny.
I know you were. I know you were, and it's okay. I am black business, and I do need your business. But
Right,
I
right.
I
No,
think
no.
I'm just one business. I'm one business. You need black folks hot spot. Black folks hot spots needs business.
But the reason being is, in what you said is 100% correct. And yes, hell, I tell people, even if you're selfish, because what happens is,
Yeah.
if I take my money and I spend it with you, and you take your
Right.
money and you spend it with somebody else that looks like us,
Right.
and they take their
Right.
money and spend it with somebody else that looks like us, before
That's it.
long, that's a circle. That's how it's done.
Yes.
I lay it out. I said the blueprint is already set. If you look at, if a if a Chinese family moved to the United States today,
Hmm.
they're gonna go work somewhere, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, in a week later, it's gonna be a laundromat, a Chinese laundromat, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing you
Yeah.
know, it's gonna be a Chinese restaurant. The next thing you know, it's gonna be this, and before long, you look in that community, and that's what's going to be there. They're gonna make sure they can keep those dollars in that neighborhood as
Right.
long as possible. And
Right.
and my
And that
brother-in-law,
makes businesses strong.
it
Yes.
does. It
Yes.
in my brother-in-law subdivision, there's some Asians. I don't know, exactly where they're from, but all the time I tell them, I said, look at them upgrading, because it's, you know, and this is a, you know, this $300,000 houses in this
Right.
area, you know,
Yeah.
have me, and it's like 7 or 8 or 9 of them live in one house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I know that they own some. I'm about to stereotype them, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I know they own some Chinese restaurant or some beauty supply store in the
Yeah.
area. You know, we don't. One day I'm gonna go over there and ask them, like, what business do y'all own over here, right?
Yeah.
But they all live in this house, and over the last 3 or 4 years, I've watched them upgrade their vehicles.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Right.
They went from little get arounders to now they're all luxury cars. They you know, it's a Lexus, it's a BMW, it's a Volkswagen, it's this, it's that. I said, yeah, watch what. And I told my brother, I said, because they live in the only part that has the circle. Right. So I said, watch what's gonna happen. I said, in 5 to 10 years, as you know, people move out or, you know, downsize or upsize, whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna buy the house next to them. They're gonna buy the house here. They're gonna buy that. They're gonna own that whole circle, and then watch what happens. You're gonna see that storage unit. They're gonna try to buy that storage unit over there. They're gonna try to buy that business, and there's gonna be other things gonna pop up. I guarantee you, because that's how they work and that's how they think. But they're born, not born. They're raised to think like that.
Yeah.
And I can't fault them for that.
No. Oh no, it's a good thing. It's a good example. We need to learn to collaborate if we're going to ever build anything, wealth, or just, you know, our businesses. So we need to realize that we're not each other's competition.
we're not. I tell other people who do stuff similar to what I do, create a profile on our site. Why? Because you know what? If I can help you build your site will stay around. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, I know why most of the sites that do things similar, if there's a black business director or this, that, and the other, I know why they fail. And they fail because they don't get enough business. They don't get enough businesses in there to however they're going to monetize their site, whether it's by ads or this, that, and the other. They don't have enough. And I tell them what happens is this: if somebody goes to you first and you don't have enough to sustain them, or you're not doing, you know, things to make them feel like it's worth their money, they're not going to shop with you. And you got to understand our mentality. Our mentality is if they fail with that other company, they're not going to trust me either. Mm-hmm. They're going to, you know, majority, they're going to say, oh, I tried that before, it didn't work.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, so, and I always use the analogy. Did you have a bad experience at Walmart, but you went back the next week?
Yeah. Oh.
Give us a shot.
How many bad experience you have at them beauty supply stores?
Right.
And you go back.
And that's our mentality. And I think that, you know, I don't know, were your parents business owners?
My dad was a business owner of sorts.
Okay.
You know, he knew how to. He did his own business.
You know, my dad was too. He still worked in the steel mill, but he was the jack of all trades. I mean, he you know, when they were laid off from the mill, we never missed a meal. I'm gonna tell you that. Mm-hmm. But I tell people he's never talked to me about business,
right?
Ever, you know. And he's probably the only one I can think of. His father they had a little side business. It was like Three Brothers is what the name of it was, and him. And two of my uncles, they had businesses, but they never talked to me about business. And you know, and I said that when I had my child, you know, my daughter's been talked about from business from the time she was born, before she can understand what the hell I was talking about. Matter of fact, when she was 2 months, 1 month, I tell her, she don't believe it now. I used to play Think and Grow Rich on cassette tape.
Yeah. It's in there. I believe it's in there. You don't know yet, but it has some power. So I think that's smart.
The girl makes money. The girl, she was like, Poppy, I bought it.
It's the 14-year-old.
Yeah, there's the only one. She said, Poppy, I bought last year. She was like, Poppy, I'm an Android person, and I told her we don't do Apple. You know, I'm excuse you for your iPad, but I told her we don't do Apple. We don't do Apple in this family here. But anyway, said, Poppy, and I bought her HP, and she's like, Poppy, I want to do some things on YouTube, and I want to, you know, give me a YouTube channel, and I want to do some videos and another. And I did some research, and I did all this research, and the HP is not gonna do what I needed to do. So I bought a Mac, and I'm like, you bought a Mac or your mama bought you a Mac? She's like, no, Poppy, I bought the Mac. And I'm like, how much was it? She was like $1,300. And I'm like, you got $1,300, right? and so I'm like, I need to get a loan from you, kid. But she and then she bought an iPhone 6, right? And she just bought. I don't know if you've heard this thing. It's called it's like a skateboard that's motorized. It's like they call it a next board. It's like $600 freaking dollars, right? But it's like those things you see people in the city. Those I can't think of the name of to save my life right now. But you see people riding around the cities on it.
I've seen it. I've seen the commercials. Yeah.
And she bought one, and I'm sitting and so then I had to say to her, I said, look, let me teach you a little bit. We're gonna have to talk about money now, because she works. Her mom's a business owner as well, so she's getting it from both ends. So she works with her mom, and I said, listen, there was a time in life where Poppy never thought money would stop. You know, and you know, I used to be. It was nothing to get a $10,000 check. I used to be in the mortgage industry. Money was just flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing, right? Yeah. And I spent and spent and spent and spent.
Then stop.
And then starting a business, you know, it don't always come like you think it can come, right? You know, you know, and I think that's where most people quit. They expect it. You know, I was like, no, you got to fight through it. You have to fight through it. You got to do things the right way, because it will come. If you got a good product, if you got a good service, and even if you don't, sometimes if you just, you know, because you can overcome that. I tell people all the time, you can overcome bad service and bad business till you get it right. You know, by advertising and marketing. If you keep throwing more money in it, you know, there's a car dealership in this area got the worst customer service. If you look at their rankings, it's always at the bottom, like a 1-star dealership. They sell more cars in this area than any other dealership. Why? Because they on TV every 5 minutes. They got a billboard everywhere. So they spend more money in advertising, so they overcome it. And these are the things that I learned from other places. You know, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, how are they doing things? How are they making their money? You know, because we didn't have those mentors. I don't have those people in my family where I can say, hey, call them up and say, hey, I'm having this issue. What should I do? You know, it's trial and error for us. You know, that's why I like talking to people like you that can say, hey, this is a pitfall that I had. You know, you could tell a new stylist that's thinking about going in, this is the route you should take. When I was, you know, wanted to be a doctor, I talked to other doctors when I was in college. Then I found I didn't want to be a doctor. Right. When I wanted to be in financial services, I was talking to other planners. I was like, hey, give me the skinny. Tell me what's up. You know, lead me in the right direction. And in corporate America, I would always go find a mentor. You know, and I wouldn't look at a mentor in my office because I didn't want any of my managers to think I was out for their job. So I would go outside of it and be like, hey, I want to move up in this company. What's the ways? What are the different things that I can do? What's this? What's that? What's the paths? And that's how I always did well. But anyway, Bev, I appreciate you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. This was really good. It went a little bit longer, but it was a great conversation. I you know, and I think, you know, people listening, our listeners will get a lot out of it if they hadn't already, if they're watching this, you know, 10 years from now, because this is timeless information and we need to teach this. And people like yourself that's went through some ups and downs. So you can go check out the event, the hair show, and probeautyshow.com. And you can also find, if you can't find it, you can also find, if you don't remember that, or you're not, you know, you just want to click it, you can also go underneath this video is a link to Beverly's profile on Black Folk Hotspots, which probeautyshow.com is in the link in the description. You connect with her across social media and in the website as well. Thank you. I'm basically tuning out. And
all right. It's been my pleasure, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You have a great day. Thank you.
Oh, you too. All
You
right.
got it.
Bye now.
Okay, guys. There you go. Another interview, another successful. That's episode 20. Go get your shirts. I'm telling you, it helps us to keep our costs down so we can help more businesses. Um, it helps us be able to go to conferences and learn more information to help businesses grow even more, to bring on staff. Uh, we need to build out a whole new website and the whole nine. We need to do a lot of things, so we need to make about $100,000. But anyway, thank you. The link for the t-shirts is $17. It's in the description below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. If you got anybody in the beauty industry, please, 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 because people should be striving to get to that next level. Go from the stylist in the chair to behind, go from behind the chair to the front of the chair, become a manager, become an owner, open up your shop, get other people, train them, teach them, and let's develop these industries. And most important, you heard her, you have to get those beauty supplies so people can come to you. Now people are coming into your shop because they just maybe come to get a comb or a brush, but then they're knowing that you exist. So when they need a hairstyle or coloring or weaves or lock care, whatever you do, they know that you exist. And if you're a beauty shop owner, if you're a beautician, if you're a barber and you're watching this, create a profile for your business so we can share it and introduce you to our network of over 250,000 people, urban professionals globally. Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching.